Wanted to also pivot here and just bring us back into the parade here in this moment. What are these?
Okay, this is multiple variants of the stryker vehicle. I spent through almost 4 years of my life commanding a stryker brigade, 125 stryker in Alaska, so I'm very familiar with these. These are wheeled vehicles, a lot lighter than the Abrams tank, and include the Bradley. Highly mobile. A weapon system we brought in for lethality, that with Blue Force tracker, knowing where we are in relation to the enemy in the environment we operate in. These are highly successful vehicles. I took them to Iraq in 2008, 2009 for a deployment in Diyala province, Iraq. We've advanced those with double V hull, so they're extremely survivable, very lethal, and very fast.
And what is it like to be inside? From the outside, it seems like the quarters inside are rather cramped.
They are. You got to bend over to get in. They're tight when you're in there. You've got the hatches in the back. You're always pulling security, obviously. So for those in the very back, the guys in back, gals in back, you don't see a lot. Track commander, the driver obviously does, and the gunner does, but it gets a little bit intimidating, and you don't want to be kind of faint of heart when it comes to getting car sick, because that's what will happen to you. There is no horizon when you're inside that vehicle.
Wait, so walk me back through, are these predominantly people movers, or are they also combat tools?
So the stryker vehicle's got multiple variants, 10 variants of it, everything from nuclear, biological, chemical variant for detection, medical, mortar variant, infantry variant, command and control, a tactical air control party, which would be calling in the U.S. Air Force, talking to naval forces doing naval bombardment. And so it really depends on which one it is. And then we had the mobile gun system variant, which is a direct fire weapon system that we incorporated in the Stryker Brigade. But most of them are people carriers, but they're multi-purpose platforms.
Got it.
You know, I think one thing that we also have to mention here too, Simone, are the number of demonstrations that are taking place, the sort of counter demonstrations, these No Kings protests that we've seen all over the country. I was even out in Alexandria earlier today, spoke with demonstrators who were out there that were critical of what they say the Trump administration's position has been as of late as relates to policy. Them even acknowledging to some extent that, while they appreciate the military and the U.S. Army, that they've been a bit concerned by this sort of display of force. So we have these demonstrations that are going on, but we're also talking about the history, right, that we're celebrating today as well. So it has been sort of a mixed bag, both celebratory and demonstrations.
To that point, Larry, when I was speaking with the head of the Secret Service, as we were kind of getting a background look at how they were doing the safety for all of this, we did talk about protesters, and he said that they welcomed peaceful protesters, but as we're looking out there, our cameras aren't catching any noticeable protesters going on, but the No Kings organization was very clear about saying you all need to avoid Washington, D.C. They didn't want to draw more attention, they felt, to this parade and essentially give perhaps the president a show that he might want, or give him a reason to remove them, perhaps with force.
But it was interesting talking with those protesters today that, even though they were committed to sort of standing up against what they say are some troubling policies by the Trump administration, that they did not want their demonstration to be viewed as sort of anti-military, anti-army, that even while they're demonstrating, that they recognize that the Army is the one consistently fighting for our freedom at home and abroad, but wanted to make sure that that they were still respected and honored during what is an important day for them.
A huge day for our country. Again, we're watching the president as he salutes our troops as they make their way down Constitution Avenue. We see him flanked by First Lady Melania Trump. And I wanted just to take a look at these uniforms right here. Any idea what era we're looking at?
Yeah, you're looking at current era now with the multi-cam. So this is modern day soldiers. Can't see their patch on their uniforms. I couldn't say which division it is from this angle, but yep.
You talked about the sort of science that goes into developing these uniforms. I'd imagine that there's a considerable amount of research kind of looking at its ability to be responsive to these service members, provide protection and shield when necessary, but also allowing them to be a bit breathable, I'd imagine, too, especially since they'll be wearing them pretty often.
We've gone to ripstop primarily. I mean, it's varied. It really depends. The desert, we went to the desert with woodland camouflage, not the type of uniform you want, hot, but quickly the Army responded to that. And we've got then the chocolate chips, and then we got the desert cam. And so we've gone from cotton to heavy to ripstop, which is very breathable. It's interesting that technological advances occur both ways, right? So we design things in the United States Army that impact and enhance the world, right? Certainly the nation from a military industrial standpoint, and vice versa. So Gore-Tex material, right? Some of that we design, but we won't hesitate for a minute to pull that from, you know, the commercial side.
What am I looking at on the screen here? Do you see the, I'm not sure if that's a tank, I'm going to use the word
That's a
tank.
stryker.
A stryker, excuse
Yep.
me. So are the artillery pieces up on the top, what we were just seeing, those?
Okay, that's not artillery piece. So what
Okay.
those are, smoke launchers, grenade launchers. So to shield you and protect you and obscure you, it has the ability to pop smoke canisters out. And so it's more of a kind of a smoke screen effect. So when you displace from position to position, you can screen yourself and make yourself not visible to the enemy.
And if you're in one of those, we see the soldier sitting down towards the bottom, Larry looking out through the window in the
Right.
front.
Yep.
If you had to pick a seat in that as a soldier, where would you want to be within one of those
Probably in the
strikers?
front, right?
Well, you know, driving them, I've driven these. I've driven an Abrams tank and a Bradley. The guys on top they got the best view, right?
Okay.
And so now we don't typically ride way out of the hatches like that for obvious reasons. Certainly in 14 years, 15 years of a GWAT, you would be down inside hull defilade. You'll see those vision ports there, so all those hatches could go down. And so you'd be self-contained inside of that vehicle and still have pretty good field of view and vision. And so right now you're seeing hatches up, and they're not in hull defilade for sure.
You've talked about how these tanks, the uniforms, how everything has evolved over the years. Has it made it so that our men and women out in combat are safer when they are there?
I mean, that obviously so, but you know, the opponent gets the vote, right? It's kind of a cat and mouse game. We develop something, they counter that, we counter the counter, and so it's a non-stop. I mean, constant research, development, and upgrading. Now you're going to probably get into what we call HIMARS. So you're hearing all about the artillery, you know, Iron Dome, the Patriot missile system, which
Yes.
oddly enough, 34 years ago, Patriots were in the street of DC. Then, now the
interesting.
much more advanced Patriot system you'll see here, as well as HIMARS kind of sprinkled in there. Another Stryker vehicle being shown there. It looks like they're panning back and forth along the parade route, so you're seeing multiple eras.
I mean, it sounds like a rock concert, doesn't it?
Oh, it is
It
a rock
does.
concert.
When you just
We
so-
need to rock out, folks.
Yeah, you know, you can see where the president is sitting and all the other dignitaries, his cabinet members. By the way, at least 15 cabinet members I've been counting, so perhaps more than that, but quite a show from the president's administration. I can't describe how big the stage is that they're sitting on. It feels, Larry, like we were just talking about, like you were at a massive
There you go.
concert.
You were
there
at
you
a
go.
massive concert, and there, of course, you can see members of the U.S. Army getting the crowd pumping there. You know, again, we've seen people from all across the United States make their way here to Washington to participate in this historic occasion, honoring our U.S. Army and the servicemen and women that participate and protect our freedoms each and every day.
We're watching all the pageantry, the patriotism happening. I did want to mention too the logistics that have come along with this, because if you were trying to fly into DCA today, we are currently in a ground stop. I believe that was from 6 p.m. to 9:30. Many flights have been rerouted to Dulles.